It depends. I get caught up in these things. Hold on. Why did I do this before I press start? I don't know. Okay, so when last left, might have met the evil leaper. Well, no, the evil counterpart. No, I mean, I'm a monster. The character maneuvers people and populations into like their own ends, and social engineers at a whim, and it's all in good fun. For just one person. So, maybe this person is the better counterpart of me. I don't know. Maybe the chaotic neutral. I don't know. Let's find out. Stupid, but we'll go with it.
You wipe the crust off your eyes and see that it is now episode 5, Owen Nowhen's garden in Shenzhen. You are a filth doctor, a professional hazards of the job healer in a world full of danger. You have been busy, as the zombie plague has really increased your workload, not that it was ever quiet. The powers that be want to cremate you when you die, but, until then, you heal as fast as anyone else thanks to the wonders of modern medicine, or what's left of it.
Let's replace zombie, because tired. Cremate you while you live. You have your daily briefing with Ernest and Bertrand.
Bert, feeling awkward, gives you the daily briefing. There are several cases you need to tend to. Owen, no way, you don't say, has had a really weird rash pop up around his groin. The medical staff isn't fussed, seeing as it is a particularly ugly rash, but the connections he could make or break elections, and someone has demanded that you treat him personally.
Excuse me. Edit.
You sigh, and say, okay, if baby wants extra special hands, I'll give it to him. Owen Nowhen was one of the most powerful men in your region of the floating city. It makes sense that his health is a major priority. With all this being said, however, just because Owen is important doesn't mean you shouldn't slack in your duties to him. You give the man a particularly thorough examination. You don't rush into anything, and give every inch of his body a good look. After about an hour of this, he turns slightly red and starts making little coughs. You perform the 5th standard prostate examination for this hour, and show him the longitudinal results thus far. Well, it's a pretty rash. It should clear up soon. You tell Owen. Nice feeling when you're in the know and not just at the bottom of the ladder. Right now though, you still are at the bottom of the medical ladder. Maybe at the top too, since as far as you can tell only you and Bert are scientifically inclined, and he's mostly doing research nowadays. You go to sleep satisfied with your report. You sleep by Owen Nowhen's bed, on the floor, because you have decided to do a very old-fashioned house call, like taking shifts in. You wake up at 6:20 a.m. in the morning, with sunlight flooding through the blinds. Thank goodness for those window shades, because you don't think you'd want to wake up to that. Owen, meanwhile, is still asleep. He's going to be sluggish all day if he doesn't wake up soon. It's a lovely Saturday morning, there's no ER rush today, and you finished your reports last night, so there's nothing urgent hanging over your head. You remind yourself of your domestic Dom persona. From basic communicable illnesses, to the illnesses of thought and language. You take a deep observation of You pull a chair to the side of his bed and begin to watch over him, getting into a state of half awake half asleep observation. Keep in mind, you should try to act grandfatherly so you fit in this household. You can take notes during this period of free time, too. About 2.5 hours pass and his eyes blink open. You managed to compile copious notes, including psychodynamic mappings of all the you ask. Fantastic. Great. He says, his spirit's refreshed and eager for the day. Thanks for hitting me yesterday. He smirks. Always happy to serve. You smirk back. Owen gets up and with the bounce of a man half his age he heads to dress up in his work clothes. You oblige Owen in conversation as he chats you up while he dresses. The conversation turns oddly dark and regarding awakenings in a way incongruous to the current faiths of this iteration. I was having a baffling dream. He starts conversationally as he puts on creased work pants. You ask, what happened in the dream? He straightens his back and holds up a finger as he climbs to the top of the shelves to grab a dusty green button-up shirt. I had just gotten back from my friend Olivia's funeral, he admits finally, buttoning up the front of the shirt as his attention turns to you. Now, I know it's silly to go to a funeral for a person you've never met, but Olivia and I, we shared some things in common. You say, oh, like what? He gives you a long, hard look. A million small, sad smiles flash across his face and are gone a moment later as he makes a decision. Do you believe people can share dreams? Not just the same dream, but actually enter each other's dreams? You sit in silence for a long while, watching as he picks out dark pants next. You say, I've heard people speak of such things. There was a study in which a group of people dreamed in the years before their country was torn apart by war, and reading the dream accounts showed that a lot of the motifs that didn't make sense at the time. His face darkens at the mention of that. Yeah. I've always been able to do that. I'd have some weird dream about a talking pineapple and suddenly my mom would walk into my room with a yellow fruit in hand, claiming it was from me. He sighs in annoyance. She knew I hated pineapple. Your reflection smiles wanly back at you as his attention is diverted to a bookshelf. You say, I know of a neuro librarian, I can pay him a visit and get some choice works you put to roots. It benefits the body if it has the agency to make sense and meaning of the mysteries that cross their path. He each looks away from the bookshelf to you and smiles. You're too kind. I would love that. There's a book of 20th century poetry in there, by an author named T.S. Eliot. If you trust my judgment, please take it out and bring it with you. He smiles, and bows to you slightly as you turn to leave. It doesn't feel right that you're deceiving such a kind person. You take the book humbly, Bo, and give your thanks to Owen Nowhen. You should be able to meet you again next week with your findings. Good tidings, and good primaries.
Okay, I need to go and do my thing. I have to work again. Lunch over.
You give him a small bow, which he returns in kind. Oh, and one more thing, he says, then pulls out a jar of yellow liquid from his bag. There's a jar of preservation fluid in there. It can keep things from growing, rotting, or evolving. It was able to preserve anthrax for millennia without a change in species. I've been using it on the plant's life around here.
Team. Neat.
You stare at it with eldritch horror quivering your buttocks, but you retain your composure. Neat. He smiles and puts it back in his bag. Neat stuff, huh? I know another guy that uses it for tanning hides. A strong solution, but it preserves them from rotting. You have no response to this. Great. He says confidently. I shall see you around, domestic. Godspeed. With those words he strides out the door with his yellowed ropes fluttering behind him. You stare at him with horror. Nice butt, though. Pushing such distracting thoughts, You turn your attention to the center of the room. A large, solid table sits under a dark stain which you know is dried blood from numerous experiments performed here. Along the walls are shelves full of jars filled with pickled organs, some human, some animal. Above these shelves sit instruments of horrible surgery. Nearby hang human skulls whose empty eyes seem to leer at you in derision. You think to yourself, why didn't I notice this last night? You take notes, and you manage to syringe out a small amount of the preservation fluid for analysis. A layer of frost covers every object in the room. You bump into a lab table, sending glass vials full of murky liquids clattering to the floor in slow motion. You wince as they explode on the cold tile, their contents merging together as they flow across the lab. The slow, gliding reflections in the tile no longer give your surroundings the illusion of being warm and cozy. You exclaim, "Motherfucker." Stay calm, and call upon your bot's warm of yourself. Thankfully you have a complete image of the inventory. Bert, Ernie, clean up in aisle, well every aisle. You set your bots warm. Most of your bots are e-butlers, but a few specialized scouts and manual labor models make up the numbers. The synergy of autonomous systems took a leap centuries ago with the invention of Borgs, cybernetic organisms that are part organic, part machine. A clever use of shell code and remote visual compliance turned the Borg into Rosie the robot from the Jetsons, able to take commands directly through eye contact with an operator. You say to yourself, anything you say, Mr. L. Your body of 1 trillion bots cause your body to diffuse into a tiny maelstrom, putting the universe's second largest puzzle together. Since the invention of artificial intelligence as humans knew it in the last years before the plague, humanity had seen a number of difficult and prosperous years. AIs used in everyday life had become more and more adopted, and by the time digital neural networks hit the market, they were already being used for running cars, operating washing machines and other appliances. Using AI to program AI had given rapid development of new technology, freeing up humanity to pursue more mental activities. You read the T.S. Eliot book while the rest of you continues cleaning your mess. While you were reading the iPhone, the rest of your comrades were having their own share of victories. They seemed to consist of switching on a virtual cell phone and starting a text message addressed to yourself as well as any other sweep through cell towers to see what was connected. They then turned your iPhone into an improvised bomb, attaching guns and knives to turn it into a bomb with multiple shrapnel points and line wire to the battery for a big boom. You threaten to whip their asses if they set it off now. Save the fun for later. Continue reading T.S. Eliot. Of course, you wouldn't admit it, but their blunt instruments are pretty interesting. Maybe that's why the human mind was a weak spot. It couldn't handle the bleeding edge of technology. You were trying to stop them from getting their grubby meat hooks on it for as long as possible.
Sorry. Yes, I'm still trying to go to work. And hello. Cousin Nancy.
You Cousin Nance by T.S. Eliot. Miss Nancy Ellicott strode across the hills and broke them, rode across the hills and broke them, the barren New England hills, riding to hounds over the cow. Glory be to both these brothers. The elder shall be a photocoa, ruling all created things that move under the moon, bearing the rod and being as a gentleman to his people, but the younger shall be a pattern master, inglorious in birth the foremost of all lunarians. The brothers sleep in the museum, in the cornerstone of the furnace. On December 21st, Winter's Day, they change and hang their cloaks on the Sun Kings in starshine. You must remember this, the cathedral is not a basilica. And slaves stripped to the organ's music are not celebrating a triumph. Hans lives of the Kremlin where victory has her dwelling, in the rooms that were Petersburg.
Let's see how long this goes.
He sits at the desk that was Napoleon's and wears his foe's underwear. Sadly, he's but a shadow of the great Emperor Alexander, and after 100 years of planning he's led his people to the slaughter. This is still your world. What are you going to do with it, dissident?
This is, by the way, not the Cousin Nancy poem. This is the AI going off in poetry form.
I am a man who lives in darkness, so that others may be safe. I am the bringer of utter chaos, so that there may be peace. I would not have you any other way. I'm going to tear this whole fucking thing down. The clouds broke up into nothingness and the pale light that leaked out through them was gone. In this moment of perfect stillness it seemed that one could even hear the silence. You think you might have found through your possession of Elliot, Owen's Rosetta Stone that explains him. Must have been spectacular to stand there with him that Wednesday, and watch all those men burn. In the light of the flames his eyes would sparkle. I was so fond of Owen. When that copper star cut down onto his head, I was running down the aisle. To die in the service of God is nothing, but to die alongside a friend, now that's something. You place Owen in your hand, 2 inches away from your face, close enough to feel his heat with yours. Observe actively. His eyes brim with the reflection of the sun, which could be seen in those rare times when it graces the sky. This is what I do to pass the time away. Place objects in front of me and watch them as they drown in that image. The beauty of his face is closed off to him now. Its expression swells slowly from confusion towards boyish enthusiasm as his sight fixes upon me. You allow your stares to coalesce. Confuse yourself into Owen. Your stare swirls out his dead, glass eyes back into nothingness. The klaxon begins to blare again. Voices calling out in different tones all around you. The mothership has been sighted, its descent expected any moment now. From above you, the throb of countless generators puts your back into vibration. This exercise has left you feeling a little weird. You ask your swarm progress report. With your tiny insectoanthropomorphic spies spread out through the forests of the world, you still lack much of a complete image downloaded from your network into your little colony. Ian long past died and dissipated into the ether, but you'll remember him always. Your generators are running from nuclear energy. A power plant was placed somewhere on this continent is supplying enough energy to keep your colony running for a change, enough energy to run the simulations just as well as the outside world. You say, but is everything fixed and put into its soaring yarn play? You look up at the giant machines that are quite literally holding up your colony. The moment they break down, nobody is going to have time to fix them, so you've been trying to use up as little energy as you can. This isn't easy in an environment like this. Technology is everywhere and the lights are always on. The Keepers are nearing the end of their program now. You yell, I'm talking about Owen's place. Are the jars and the dead stuff back in their place? You stare at the two beings in front of you. One looks meek and nervous, with dark hair and weirdly handsome features, even if they are a little elongated. The other is muscular with military-style haircuts and an angry expression he may or may not have naturally. They announce their names are Bertrand and Thorn, but never mind that. Your mind is focused on what's happened to Owen's lab. Oh yeah. Vaughn mutters. You say that better be a yes of confidence, or it'll be your buttocks in those jars. Hi Vaughn. Where did Ernie go? Vaughn's angry expression becomes angrier when he hears his name. Where did never mind where Dr. Owen is. But, I thought the jars were all gone. You didn't mess up our lab theory at that moment. Your rude employee sticks his head through a metal door in the floor. There seems to be stairs there. Hey Vaughn, you'd better come take a look at this.
Oops, I I was going to go to the bathroom, and I forgot to end the stream. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was being silent because my head was thinking about the sentences. It's a little tough to think about the twists and such. I'm gonna try to be more talky. Oh, I mean, in previous episodes I've been more talky, but this one has been engaging me way more than the others. I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I gotta go back to work, and that was also in my head too. Thanks for dropping. Thanks for dropping by. See ya.